Hello, everyone. This is Chris Anderson here, and today, as my special guest as always,
Anna, hello.
and today in this episode, we are going to be reviewing a movie game called The Complex. Now, it came out back in this year, March 31st, I believe, and we played it. We gave it a couple days, let our thoughts sink into it, how we felt about it. And so here we are. We're going to do a little review of it, or very long review as we usually do. But before we get into that, let me do a quick little PSA here. With this whole C virus spraying around like crazy, please, if you're going to go out, wear some gloves and put a mask on. A mask to protect your face and stuff. And please wash your hands and do not touch your face if it can be helped. I just want to quickly say that. I hope you guys are all staying safe. So let's get on to it.
But also, too, to those that actually are sick, I hope that you make a speedy recovery and the hopes and prayers.
Yeah. So, okay, The Complex. The Complex is a movie game, interactive movie game, where you take control of a woman named Amy. And she is a medical scientist on the verge of creating this new technology that's going to enhance humans in every way possible. But then she gets a call from her higher ups that's saying that someone is super sick. They are coughing up blood. They're bleeding blood out of their eyes. They're taken to the quarantine zone. And so she goes down there and she's locked in this little small medical lab with rival companies trying to steal her or whatever. Stuff like that as well. She has a balance of making choices and depending on what she does affects her relationship status with other people. That's the general gist of it. And as of course, with this being an interactive movie game, you make choices they'll change the story.
It does.
To a certain degree, it
To a
does.
certain degree.
To a certain degree. We will go more into that in the spoiler territory because this is one of those games that we have to go into spoilers to fully discuss how the choice mechanic really works and why some parts of the story doesn't work. But before we go into that, this is more of a film than a game because there isn't much gameplay. Let me get that out of the way. There isn't much. I'll go into that later.
It's basically like a movie that you control the choices of the character.
And that's it. But we'll go into much detail about that later. So let's just talk about the filmmaking of it.
Okay.
Let me just say it's fine. It's nothing spectacular. The film, like cinematography is fine. The lighting is fine. There's nothing that makes me go, wow, this film really shows me that it's an art form. That film is an art. It doesn't scream that to me. It's just like it's static to me.
You feel like they played it safe.
Yeah, they played it safe with cinematography.
Instead of giving us dramatic scenes, like for example, there's a part in the game movie where there's going to be a hole in the ground. And they could have done something where they had the camera in the hole looking up at the characters looking down at the hole. Something like that. They could have also done something where it's there's going to be the infected girl, the one that's sick. She's in a case thing. I mean, they could have done stuff where the camera could have been in the case with her so you could see what she sees before you see what you're actually supposed to see. Or have a camera up at a roof corner type thing so you can get a wide shot of what everybody's doing. Or something like that.
Yeah, there's
right?
there's no really creative shots. It's all standard. The best way I can explain this is a Marvel film, really. That's what it feels like. Because not to say Marvel films are bad. They're not. Majority of them are not. But when you look at the actual filmmaking of the MCU movies, they are very static. They don't have much of a personality compared to, say, The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, Logan, Joker, all those cinematographies has a personality to them that speaks volumes. While this one, it's just feels like they just play the same. Like it's like they just use the camera just to simply just capture the story, but instead they could have used the camera to enhance the story.
Yeah.
But
it feels like it was played safe. You're seeing it either like a far away shot,
medium shot, wide shot, and close up shot. There's
but it's all like, how do I put it? Like eye level. Yeah, it's like eye level kind of thing. There's no dramatic any angles or anything like that.
Yeah, that's just right. The fact. Despite this movie game's bit of comedy, wacky comedy that's in there sometimes. It's just like, where's the personality in the cinematography? There's none, and that's kind of bums me out because again, when you are a director, you have the chance, to show what style you have, show your strengths, and here, to me, it just like they didn't really do much. Yeah, and it's not the cinematography that's just fine. It's everything else, like shadowing, coloring, lighting. They're all just fine. It's flat. Like right now, we have a scene like pulled up right in front of us. I can't show you guys right now because that's spoilers. And plus, if I can show you later, I will. But that's only if Adobe After Effects is my friend. It's not trying to, ruin my life.
Crash.
So there's a scene where like they're kind of like in the I don't know, like green brick hallway of some sort, like sewer looking thing. And there's no interesting lighting or shadowing to it. It's all just kind of just flat. It's been a good time to have fun with that.
I think the problem is, the scene that we're looking at that has a brick wall with a door and a couple of characters at it, and there's a light on the roof that gives off a greenish tint. Yeah, it feels like for this area that's supposed to be dark, it feels a bit too bright, which takes away the
atmosphere,
sharp blacks and darks shadings that should be, to give more of that doom, gloom, caught in a corner, type of feel, but instead it's too bright, and because of that, it doesn't feel as threatening as it should be.
Yeah,
and I feel like, I know they made the lighting probably bright to make sure everybody sees things clearly, but there are times where it's like it's a bit too bright.
Okay, so here's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like here's another one I pulled up. It's the same scene almost, but it's her face. It's a woman's face, and when you look at it, it's like I do appreciate they did tint the coloring because I imagine the original color is probably like usual standard light coloring, like yellowish, bright white type thing. Yeah. Here it's more green looking, which I do appreciate that. It does fit within the story, I guess.
And the tone, yeah.
In the tone. But here, when we look at the lady's face, it's like, where's the shadows? Where's, there's only one light. And I don't know about you guys, but if you stand in a hallway that's narrow with only like one light that spaces out, there's going to be, shadows, strong shadows.
There should be, that hall that's behind her should be dark. And that should be giving off the eeriness that, like, there could be more backup coming up down the hall. But instead, because it's so bright, it's like, oh, there is no backup. There's no additional...
Okay. Here's a better comparison with this. Here's a better comparison.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. The better comparison, not an MCU film. This is more of a TV show feeling.
Oh.
That's what it feels like to me. Because when you look at TV shows, a lot of them, they have a similar style. There's not strong lighting to them. There's not crazy camera shows. Now, there is some TV shows out there that have tremendous amount of directing and cinematography and lighting, coloring. Breaking Bad's one of them. I really recommend you guys checking that out. Breaking Bad's amazing. And even though before this 8th season of Game of Thrones, but yeah, here it's just like there's it doesn't feel threatening to me. It doesn't feel threatening, and this is the problem that goes throughout the entirety of the game. Is that they don't play around with it. They don't say like, okay. Slight light spoiler. I'm not going to reveal who it is, but just give you an idea. There's a character that eventually turns out to be like a weasel in the complex, like a weasel that kickstart this whole them being trapped in the complex. And there's like no good foreshadowing of that. Like say if they put like a shadow, like a dark shadow on him or something like that, that could have emphasized that, oh, he has a dark secret or something. You know, the camera and lighting and coloring doesn't really emphasize that.
No, because everything's too bright.
It's too bright.
And also, too, because this is supposed to be like a video game movie thing, they easily could have played with the tints and the colors, pop out stuff, make things dark. I mean, yeah, it's real actors, but they can still
mess around with it. Yeah, they can mess around with it.
And give it more of a style.
Yeah, and so it's just like, it's just a shame because there's so much you can do with, you know, this. There's, again, the cinematography, the film making itself should enhance the story. Yeah. Here, it just feels like it's just there to convey the story, to show us the story, but doesn't, you know, enhance it.
It doesn't back up the horror and the feel by how bright certain scenes are, the fact of that there's lack of shadows in certain scenes that really would emphasize and like enhance certain parts. It just overall feels too safe, too bright, just tell the story. But I feel like if they did put a little bit more thought and time into certain things, they really could have like really popped the feels even more, like got more feels from start to finish instead of like a handful of times here and there.
I will admit there is one good thing about the filmmaking I do like. It is the music. I thought the music was very fitting. It's very much of that thinking music. It's very it fits because your character is supposed to be very intelligent. And so when she has to get herself out of a situation, that music comes on for thinking, like, oh, what should I do? How am I going to get myself out of this? It fits. I thought the music was nice. I don't think it's something I'm going to buy or listen to, but I thought it was a nice little touch.
I say from everything I've watched, I didn't hear a song that I felt that was out of place or anything really like that. Did you?
No, nothing.
I felt like everything that you heard when it did play music here and there, it fitted the tune.
Yeah, it fitted the tune.
The tone, I mean. Yeah, it fitted it.
Yeah, and so it's not, again, it fits. And that's the only thing I can really praise about the filmmaking is that the music was fitting and it wasn't off-putting.
Yes.
The actors, though, they all did a good job.
Yeah, I enjoyed everyone's performances.
Yeah.
I think they did.
Do I think they were great? No, but I thought they were good what they were given with.
You know what? None of them sucked.
None of them sucked. Yeah, that is a positive. None of them sucked. So all of you actors who are, for some reason, listening to this, hey, you did a good job. You didn't suck. Congratulations.
I thoroughly enjoyed every single performance. I could tell everyone really tried.
But not to say just because they give a good performance doesn't mean the character itself is good.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the actors themselves.
Yeah, the actors themselves.
Away from the characters that they're portraying, just the acting themselves, I have nothing really to complain about. I enjoyed watching them.
But sadly, the good performances, some of them were kind of wasted on like one-note characters. I was like, okay, come on now. Okay, so character-wise, Amy is who's you're the one that controls, so you can make her very sensitive, you can make her honest or very dishonest, stuff like that. So her character is a bit more hard to grasp because you can change her personality.
Oh, tell them about the game percentage with the characters.
We will go with that, but I want to talk about the characters for a bit.
Okay, yeah, but I was saying like that also plays a thing with the characters and your character's personality.
Yes, it does. Kind of. Again, that's something more in spoiler territory.
Oh, you want to save for that?
Well,
okay.
We could talk about a little, just like a little, but I'm not going to go in much detail into it because that is spoiler. Right. So, as I was saying, the main character, like, she's fine. If you can hate her or you can like her, depending on your choices, will change that. There's a character, the love interest, we're going to put in quotes, Wakefield, also known as the comedic relief. he was enjoyable for the 60% of it. I found a lot of his jokes to be not very funny, to be kind of cringy here and there.
I'm wondering if that's on purpose.
It could be on purpose, maybe it was so, but for me, I don't think it really was supposed to be on purpose. I think it was supposed to be like a giggle, but I didn't really get a giggle. I was just kind of just cringe. I did cringe at a good majority of his jokes. Now, humor is subjective, so if I didn't find it funny, but you guys find it funny, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So, but the villain of the game, I'm not going to spoil who it was, but their motive is very one note. Their character is one note. There was also obvious who's going to be the villain. And the other characters, despite them having relationship status, you don't really get a good grip on their personality. Like, there's one character that pops in later, like, he's like the boss of the headquarters or whatever. I think his name is Parker. And he shows up, and you don't get much of a good grasp of what his personality is like. He's just there, and you wonder why do you have a relationship status if you don't even really interact with the guy. And so, yeah, some of these characters, good performance, it's just sadly the characters needed more fleshing out, which we will go into spoilers very soon.
Yeah.
And of course, throughout the game, you have choices, and depending on your choices, changes how these characters interact with you. Mm-hmm. It works somewhat. There's only really one character that affects, while everyone else, not really.
Well, you could basically say it affects some, like, what is it? Like, one scene will change, and then, like, certain things will change, but not as much as you think, and we'll have to go into more detail about that.
To give an example, like, alright, my first playthrough of the game, I treated everyone nicely as I could. The Wakefield guy, I treated him as nicely as I could. And there's one scene where he helps her up to get to a vent to try to escape.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
And that's the one where if you're really nice to him, he'll help you. But if you weren't nice to him, you're kind of treating him like, crap, he won't help you. But here's the thing, that doesn't really matter, because in the end, she still gets her finger cut. Yeah. So my point is, like, this scene is almost meaningless, because it doesn't come back to play later. His attitude towards her doesn't really change by the end, despite the fact that you treat him like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what?
Which makes it feel at the end that no matter what your choices is, if he's gonna act the same either way, it kind of takes away from the choices.
And there's like all the majority of the characters are like this, actually.
Yeah.
Emily, I can't really go much into detail yet, but no matter how you treat her, she's going to act the same. Natalie, the owner, I think she's actually the owner of the company. I think Natalie. No matter how you treat her, she's going to act the same.
Well, I think that those would be more in...
Yeah, we will get to that very soon. Now we are getting very soon.
Don't give any more names, because I think that's more spoiled.
Okay, so so my overall general thoughts of the story, like, it's fine. I wish they could have added more to it. Okay, this is not particularly spoiled, but I'm gonna go into this. There's a scene where the characters discover that there's an underground subway. And there's other making a big deal, like, oh, we can use it to escape. But then they find out the hole is, too deep. Mm-hmm. And they just completely ignore it. So my thought is, like, what's the point of that scene? It doesn't add anything. They don't do anything with it. There's no need for it. Why wasn't there a choice where we can go down it, and that opens the entirely new choices and narratives right there?
An area.
And matter of fact, you can skip that scene entirely. So that just proved my point, like, that you can cut that scene out and nothing would change.
Yeah.
So, like, there's just wasted opportunities there. I mean, the overall story itself is fine. It's a fun little story. It's not great, but it's fine. That's all I can say.
But also, too, didn't we say it felt a little too short?
Yes, like I said, the characters needed more fleshing out. There needed to be more. If this was a TV show that was episodic and it was also a video game, like like the Telltale games, I'm not sure if you've ever played them. Those are episodic, and each episode has their own stories and their own choices, and based on your choices, will be brought over to the next story, and it'll change that one.
Yeah.
Now, the first Telltale game, like the first season of The Walking Dead, did this well, but the later ones, not so much. So, yeah, I wish they did something like that. I feel like if this was episodic and was like that, this would be a better experience.
Honestly, I don't feel like it needs to be episodic. I just feel like certain areas like that, the whole scene, that actually went somewhere and gave a choice to either pursue it or do something else, or pursue it, see other things, and then, go back to continue. Because it feels like certain characters didn't get enough development time.
Definitely.
Certain characters, because of this whole entire, like, how they feel for you meter, like the higher it is, the more they're supposed to like you, the lower the meter or the percentage, the more they're, I guess, distrust or not liking you type thing.
Doesn't really work that well.
The problem is that it doesn't feel like it works well because it doesn't really have too much of an impact, like as much as it makes you think it would.
Yeah, it feels like window dressing. That's all it is.
And we will, in spoiler, we'll talk more into depth of why, it fails at what it does, and, give our opinion on what could have fixed it, or...
And also, another thing, this is... Okay, after I discuss this, we will jump right into spoilers, because we've been dancing around it for almost, like, last 10 minutes. We also mentioned that your character has her own stats, her honesty, intelligence, bravery, curiosity... Curiosity, I cannot speak today, apparently. That's...
I think sympathy?
Sympathy, sensitivity. I think it's called sensitivity.
Sensitivity. Okay.
Yeah, that is also very much window dressing. It doesn't really play into too much of a factor. Besides, it describes what your personality is by the end of it, what type of person you are. But other than that, it doesn't really do much. Say, for example, throughout... what I mean by doesn't mean do anything of impact is that nothing in the story falls back on that. Let's say you made your character more of a... You solved your problems through brute force than intelligence. Then later on, there's a scenario where the character handles it herself and you don't make any choices. She handles it more of a brute than, handle it very smartly like. And that has consequences to it. But let's say you went back to the game again and handled those scenarios and your choices very intelligently. You were more clean about it, you thought it through. And then when that very same scenario came back up, she handled it more carefully and more intelligent like, leaving less consequences. There's a point where I feel like these stats should actually play a factor into the narrative, into the character.
But they never really.
No, because every choice you have, you can make that choice. There's never a point where she handles something on her own, really.
Yeah, I mean, you can go brute intelligence, brute intelligence, it doesn't change much.
Yeah,
I mean, even if you make her like a character doesn't get along with everybody, I mean, like
they'll still do stuff for her though.
They'll still do stuff. There's only one character. Well, two characters, but one character it affects only a little, and the other character it will affect you big time.
Yeah,
and
so
the ending.
Yeah, so I guess let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So this is full on spoilers.
Or should we give a rating?
You know what? Let's give our ratings right now, so that people who don't want to hear the spoilers and just want to know the rating, because numbers have all the value apparently now these days. Mm-hmm. All right, so I really did want to like this game, but the more and more I thought about it, the more I thought I had, better. Oh my god, my mind is not.
You had high. Well, this movie game thing has such good potential, but it falls kind of flat here and there, and that's where you're kind of like.
Yeah. Okay. My first playthrough, I thought a bit more highly of it, but then as time went on, I thought less of it. I was like, oh man, you are starting to develop more problems the more I think about it. And that sucks because I really wanted to like this game. I still kind of do, it's just not as much as I was hoping for. Or as I wish. So my rating, I would have to give it like a 6 out of 10. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great either. It's not average either. I did play this game, multiple times and got 6 out of 9 endings, which I did on purpose, by the way.
6 out of 9.
Nice. So yes, 6 out of 10. It's not bad. It's not great. Play it if you like. If you want a fun little story.
You mean 6 out of 9. You said 6 out of 10.
My bad. Well, I mean, the 6 out of 10 has a rating. That's why.
Okay.
That's what I meant. 6 out of 10. For the rating. It's a fun little game. I don't think it's going to really stick with you. It's not really sticking with me. I guarantee you by the time we're done with this review, I'm going to probably forget about it. I'm sorry if I really hurt any of the people behind this who made this game. It's just my personal opinion about that.
Well, in spoilers, we could talk about what we feel could bump up the score.
Yeah.
And you said the score you gave it is a 6?
Yeah, I gave it a 6.
Can I give it a 6.5?
I mean, sure. That's fine, I guess. It's your number.
I'm torn between, like, I want to lean it towards the 7, but it's, like, not quite there. So I feel kind of comfortable with, like, a 6.5.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. 6.5. It's a 6.5 for you. It's not, like, it's almost to a 7, but not quite there.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's our, general just review of it. If you want to stick around for spoilers, then hey, welcome to spoilers. So let's dive right into the nitty-gritty of it. So at the beginning of the game, you are in Korea with a Wakefield and 2 patients that are both dying from some of a chemical sickness of some sort. And so, based on your choices, like say the guy, if you were, say, one of the patients, if you were positive with him, like you were kind of sugarcoating the events, he'll trust you more that you can give him the needle. And there's the lady right next to you where she's pregnant, but if you were trying to do the same thing where you sugarcoat it, she's not going to trust you and you can't save her. But if you were honest with her, she would appreciate that and would trust you. Yeah. And so the game tries to make a big deal, like, oh, your choices has consequences and stuff like that. And first, I was like, okay. First good impressions was pretty good. So after, like, one of the patients died, because you only can save one, Wakefield, her partner, bolts. He leaves because the pressure got too much to him. 5 years later, she's trying to, like, advertise as, like, this nanotech medical stuff to these suits to get more funding. Yeah. And so when your character, this other character, Emily, the office assistant, is trying to pull her out because there's something serious going on with the lady who's bleeding eyes and coughing up blood and stuff like that. And then again, you're giving your choices here. Either stay there, answer the suits' questions, or just leave. Go to the emergency. So, and here, Emily, this is where your first interaction with her. If you choose to stay, your relationship status with her goes down. And again, this is really pointless. Yeah. I cannot stress this as much, because Emily, later on, is going to reveal that she knew about all the shady stuff that was going on in the area.
And she's perfectly fine with it.
And she's perfectly fine. So no matter what you do, she will always want to capture you and either want you dead. She will never at one point will assist you. She will always take the villain's side, no matter what. Yeah, so you can treat her like garbage and nothing will change.
Yeah, and if you treat her the best that you possibly can be, she treats you the same, so...
And that's probably one of the best examples I can come up with how this relationship status thing means nothing in the long run. So, Story progresses. You're called down to the medical place to, test on Carla, the girl who's infected. And then you partner up with Wakefield, the guy who bolted, / love interest, / comic relief. And again, you can treat him like garbage. You can treat him all nicely, but he would still try to sacrifice himself in the end, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand if you treat him like garbage and he didn't want to sacrifice himself, that makes sense.
I mean, he could always just be like, grab the girl that's inside that tank thing, throw her out there, sacrifice her, grab the woman, and then just bolt. Or he just bolts and then the girl's left on her own.
Yeah, and he does get sick, and that's why he sacrifices himself, but we'll get into that later. And so, yeah, there's more further proof that, this whole relationship side doesn't fucking work as they say planned. And so you meet with Natalie, who is, I think, the head boss of this whole operation thing. Yeah. And she reviews that the Carla, the woman who's sick, she's the one that took the entire batch of that nanotech medical stuff, and now she's very sick.
Mm.
So when you get down there, you meet like 2 other people. I think one of them's called Dr. North, and you have Ponytail Guy. And you also get a relationship status with him as well.
Which makes no sense.
Makes no sense because they die off immediately.
And no matter what choices you make in said scene, it's always going to end the same.
Yeah, the Dr. North, she always dies no matter what. So I don't even know why they bothered giving us a relationship status with her. Because she dies. It's the same thing with the Ponytail Guy. You can't convince him to be on your side because he turns out to be the weasel that, set this whole ordeal off being locked down in there and trying to steal the nanotech and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't try to get him on your side or, he comes back later to play, be a big factor. No, he dies off. He does come back in a small way, but it doesn't really matter because, again, you can cut that scene out.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what's the point? I don't get this. So it turns out, the Dr. North lady takes a huge acid smoke thing to the face and she dies. The Ponytail Guy, he gets knocked out or dies, give or take, which path you take.
I think, he dies.
He dies, yeah, but, turns out it was revealed in one of the scenes that, if you were to jump down the hole yourself, he wakes up. Mm-hmm. So that implies that he was just simply knocked out. He was knocked out.
Oh, okay.
But then, again, you can ignore that scene, and turns out that scene reveals he's just knocked out. He's not dead. So there's a bit of an inconsistency. So is he dead or is he knocked out? You can't have both.
Yeah,
it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next. So there's a lockdown, and Natalie, she is constantly putting pressure of get the nanotech out from Carla, even though it will kill her.
Yeah, she doesn't
which
really
makes
care
it so
for lives.
Painfully obvious that she's the villain.
That she does not care for lives.
She does not care.
She's after the tech.
She's after the tech and glory.
Yeah.
And it's just, she's so one note. There's nothing interesting about her character.
Also, too, the character that you play, Amy, is the creator of the nanotech.
Yeah. And so it's like, and again, no matter how much you treat her, no matter how much you take on her side or agree with her or want the nanotech as much as bad as she does, she will always want you dead or captured. There's no in between.
Nope.
So I did like multiple playthroughs of seeing if I can get a different ending, if I can get her to like me and Emily to like me, maybe there could be, a negotiation. Nope. The same endings, really, just slightly varied.
Yep.
And I'm just like, come on, really? I mean, okay, no matter what you do to them, the 3 endings, well, there's 9, but 3 of them plays out kind of the same, but slightly different, give or take. But we'll get to that soon. Mm-hmm. What happens next? There's more secrets revealed. Wakefield gets infected because he got stabbed in the leg, and the glove he had the blood of Carla, which he stupidly placed that bloody glove on the open wound, so he got infected. And that what really eventually leads up to being sacrificing himself.
Yeah, and also, too, there's a part where it's like you can clean his wound, you can do stuff, and it's like, okay, I can understand if you skip that and then he gets sick and get worse, but I mean, like,
no matter what you do, he gets sick.
If you take care of the wound immediately, you would think that you would, like, make his chances better, but no. You go through the whole ordeal and you don't get any real payoff, and it's like, well, what was the point then?
You might as well not even bother giving us the option.
Yeah, I did a runaround hoping to save this guy, or at least raise his chances of us getting out alive. No.
Nope.
They didn't go that route.
So I was like, might as well even bother giving us the option. And Carla.
It feels like throughout the game, there's like a couple of teases here and there that they never go back on. Like ideas that it feels like they give us demo ideas and then pull back from it. Like the whole bathroom scene.
Yeah, the whole bathroom, the cleaning the wound. Getting Emily and Natalie to like you. Like, what's the point? Because one of the endings I was hoping to get was that Amy, the main character, I was hoping to get her to go evil. That was like the last thing I was hoping to go for. Like evil Amy, where she only cares about the nanotech and stuff like that. Nope. Maybe one of the last 3 endings it could have been like that, but as far as I could tell, there isn't. She always, goes like, I'm going to make the bad guys pay, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So Carla, the only one the relationship status matters with is Carla. Because if she hates you, she will betray you in a way where your Amy gets infected and she dies in the end. Well, there's multiple endings where she dies, but it's one of the ways she can die.
Yeah.
And that's like the only character that really matters. Even still then, it only comes down to a couple of choices. As long as you can get her above the 50% mark, she will like you enough that she won't poison you, I believe. I think.
And she'll trust you.
And she'll trust you. I don't know. Maybe she has to fully like you to the point where she won't poison you. But so Carla, it's revealed that she is. The reason why
she doesn't poison you, she infects you.
She infects you. Yes. The reason why Carla infected herself with this nanotech is because she was going to bring it to the M16. M16. Yeah. And bring like the flash drive of proof that Natalie has been taking villagers from Korea and using them as test subjects.
And they went through, like, what, 3 villages?
3 villages worth, and Carla's family was one of those villages.
Yes.
So she's doing this out of revenge and justice. And so that's kind of revealed.
And also, too, she doesn't believe, what's the owner's name?
Natalie.
Yeah, that she's actually corrupt and bad because she took a deal with, what was that man's name?
I think it was you don't get a name, but I think it was like kind of like the
representative or something?
Yeah, of like North Korea or something like that. Korea in general, I'm not sure. They didn't specify where in Korea. I think it was North Korea, I'm not sure. It says Sardin, Korea? I don't know.
Some
don't
type
quote
of
me on
like,
that.
what was he like? I don't know.
He was a dictator.
Yeah.
Tyrant dictator that was going around trampling on people, and she was just going to... It was just the whole deal. It's like, hey, I'll give you my people because I want to get rid of them, and if you pay me, I can give you some more test subject, and no one has to know about this.
Yeah, and...
So, yeah, so it kind of makes Carla sympathetic. Like, you can understand her motives for doing all this, because she was trying to bring justice to her family.
Yeah.
So
and she believes the company, the lady, because of that, is going to use it secretly for evil, and she'd rather give it to people that would not do that.
Yeah, so Carla, and one of the choices that you can either make Wakefield sacrifice himself or Carla will sacrifice herself. And so it's just like, again, no matter what you do, one of them's going to die. You can't bring both out to safety. One of them's going to die.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what's the point? It's just... There is a lot of, like you said, there's like they tease ideas, but they don't fully go through it.
Yeah, and that there's a part that I was talking to Christian about where there's certain suggestions that I think we have ideas on to make the score higher and make this thing more better.
Yeah, which we will get to. Let's talk a bit more about the spoilers right now.
All
okay, let's see here. So let's see. I got 6 out of 9 endings. So there's endings where Wakefield, since Wakefield is infected, the corporation wants him. If Carla dies, the corporation wants him because he's the only last one with the nanotech in his blood. Mm-hmm. So there's multiple endings. One is where your character is shot and killed. He's captured as a lab rat. Mm-hmm. There's an ending where she abandons him to be left to be captured, but she does bring down the corporation because she brought the evidence to the M16 people. Mm-hmm. And then there's the third ending you can get with him, where there's 2 more endings where he suggests using him to get out, which she does, where he's more okay with that. And there's an ending where you kill him, so that way the nanotech can never be used.
And then they shoot you dead.
Then they shoot you. Yeah, that's
so basically everybody dies.
Everybody dies. So there's like the best ending you can get, as I saw, is that he lets you use him to escape, and you bring justice and bring down the corporation.
Yeah.
And then, the worst ending is, the lab rat, really. Lab rat.
Oh, when you see him locked in that room looking at the TV screen.
I'm not going to lie, that was a good shot. I thought that was a good shot. The coloring.
On the wheelchair, and he's just looking at what's going on and the lies on the TV screen that woman is saying to the public, and it's like, oh, and he's forever trapped there.
Yeah, and let's see here, the other 3 endings I got was, let's see here. Well, actually, that was 4 of them. 2 more of the endings I got is where she goes and confronts Natalie with Carla, and she pops every single character by that end. She shoots Natalie, she shoots Parker, which he's kind of shoehorned in at the end, kind of.
Yeah.
She shoots him, she shoots Emily, and you can shoot even Carla. I didn't that time, I just knocked her out. And that's the ending where your character was revealed that your character was poisoned because Carla hates your character at that point because you have sided with the corporation more than her.
Yep.
So she hates you. So she hates you at that rate. I imagine the other endings where you don't. She doesn't poison you, and you both get up, nilly-willy. In the other ending, you kill her and you're not poisoned, I guess. So that's like, I'm guaranteed that's probably the last 3 endings. It's just, yeah. The overall, again, the story is just fine. It needs more work. The characters need more fleshing out. The story needs to be a bit longer, and the ideas it had need to be worked upon. Because there's another game that does something similar to this, where there's relationship status and like that. You get it's an Until Dawn, which is a PS4 horror game, which I really do recommend playing if you like a good mystery and good horror and psychological horror as well. It's really good. It's a hidden gem. I'll say that. In that game, you also have relationship status, where depending on your choices, will change how a certain character acts towards you. So if the character's relationship status is very low with you, there's a great chance that character is going to dick you over. And yes, it works. It shows that. It very heavily foreshadows that this character will dick you over. So, but here, it doesn't really do that because no matter what you do, a character will dick you over. There's only one character that it matters with, and that's Carla. Everyone else is pointless.
And that's the part that makes the how they feel for you status, and even your own character's status, really don't feel that much important because you don't really do it doesn't do too much of an impact.
Yeah.
And that's the part that takes things away.
Yeah, if it at least followed on that much, at least I think I could give this game a higher score, but I can't because it doesn't follow through what it promises, or at least window dresses at least.
Because for example, the love interest, what was
we already gave that example. Like, no matter what you do, he will always
sacrifice himself. Yeah, but instead they should have had it if you really treat him like garbage, that he can yet again do what he did in the opening and just find a way out and just abandon ship, and then you're stuck there because you treated him like garbage.
Yeah, something.
Then he would just be repeating what he's done before. And it would work because that should be a punishment against you, that you shouldn't hurt this character because he was trying, and then you still treated him like garbage even though he's trying to help. And then he just ends up, going... No matter what he does, it doesn't seem to be getting on your good side. So
it's so
abandon ship. That would make perfect sense, and it would make you think about maybe I should be nice to the guy that can hack things and probably make things better.
Okay, so that's entirety of the story and the characters. Yeah, the more I think about it and the more I'm talking about, the more I was I don't think this game was really all that good. I mean, it's still...
but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They could have done something like that.
They could have.
And I mean, the impact could go for even more characters. For example, the woman that owns the building, right-hand lady.
Emily.
The whole friendship thing with her... You could either treat her really, do what she wants, which she'll like you more for it, or you can go against what she wants, and then her feelings for you is down. We thought that if we try to get her to like us as much as possible, maybe we can talk her out of getting us shot down or something, or pursued, or look the other way, or something.
Yes.
But there's no payoff.
There's no payoff, so...
There is zero payoff, and it's even if you, treat her like garbage, it would have been nice to have her, address being you know what, I never liked you. Or boss lady only kept you because of your intelligence, but if I had it my way, you wouldn't even be
so much
here.
You could have done.
Something, address the fact that you treated these characters so low. There's none of that. There feels like there's no consequences, really, with the other characters. There's no... treating them good or treating them bad, they're going to treat you different, or they're going to address it. It's and that's the part that makes the point system feel flat and more like what you said, window dressing?
Yeah, window dressing.
Because there feels like no real either impact on the story with the other characters, or there's no like in-depth growth or anything, no consequences. And it's like, I mean, like, there are some consequences. If you pick the wrong stuff, you can die. But I'm talking about relationship-wise with the characters. Like, for example, if you have the boss lady, you do everything she wants, and then you have a confrontation with her. I mean, like, you can like, if you have if you have the points high for her, it would have been nice if you can try and bargain.
Yeah,
unlock the ability to be able to bargain with her. And
yes.
if you were a disappointment and stuff like that, then she'd be like, yeah, we're old friends, but then she sees you more as a genius, and she's going to use you for your brain, not your friendship, because you treated her bad, you're not that close. I mean, like, they could have done something like that.
Yes, they could have. Alright, so I'm going to stop you right there now.
So it's like, there's no goal.
Yeah, okay. So,
really?
Okay, so that's spoilers right there. That's the entirety. As Doug was explaining, that's you explain how, you were talking about how to improve the game. So I guess this is good.
Some suggestions on where they fall flat.
So let's just go ahead and just jump into suggestions of how to improve this game.
Yes.
First of all, alright, if you want to be a casual, interactive story movie game, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like there needs to be a bit more meat to the gameplay. Yeah,
it feels too short.
Because I would have preferred if there was maybe some puzzle solving here and there. Depending on what you've done, it changes how your character approaches certain scenarios. Okay, let's take Heavy Rain. To me, is one of my favorite interactive stories. Mm-hmm. The overall narrative, now when I think about it, like, okay, it needs work, but it does follow through with its choices. Like, say if you make the father a bumbling idiot, you're going to get a lot of bumbling idiot consequences. Yeah. But if you perform all your actions correctly, he's not as much as a bumbling idiot. Yeah. And again, and his personality and how he talks to people will change how they interact with him. Yeah. And that's just what this game needs. Now Heavy Rain is more of a video game than a movie. This is more of a movie than a video game.
But even still, they still could have done different lines depending on your interactions and your choices.
Yeah, and the thing I would prefer, maybe at times when like say when Wakefield was hacking the computer, why not throw in like a little mini puzzle hacking game for a variety, the little puzzles here and there. Or maybe the character has to make some like chemical reaction to blow up a toilet. Okay, we'll make a puzzle game out of that, or something. There needs to be a bit more, because right now what they offer is kind of like, think of like a breading. The story is bread, mm-hmm. and what they have the meat of is like a single slice of like Black Forest ham. That's it. It's the choice. It needs more, because you eat that, it's not going to feel that fulfilling. Yeah.
The game movie thing feels like there's great ideas, but there's more parts to it that I feel needs to be more fleshed out. Correct? That's the word. And like more detail in certain parts, and go back on certain parts. Like, for example, we were talking about the toilet scene, the whole scene. We feel like that's a missed opportunity to go more into depth into that idea. We feel like we could have gone from, okay, they made a hole, it's too deep, but still, there's scientists, there's stuff around the lab. They could have made it where it's like, okay, now let's see if we can find stuff throughout the place that we can make as some form of a line or a rope or something, or a makeshift ladder that we can somehow get ourselves down there safely. And then it could have opened up to, like, the trains were sabotaged by those people that came that from the other company that are invading, and like more little secrets or more little stuff could have been added here and there, and then eventually the character has to go back up and then try to find another way, instead of them just going like, oh, hole too deep, can't do anything with it, walk away. Yeah. And also too, I was thinking like, if you picked to throw down the big object, which is the guy in the body, and you throw him down, and then later on you go down to the tunnel and you do your thing. I was thinking like he could have like mutated or something.
Oh no, that guy was infected. He was uninfected.
He wasn't?
No, he was not infected.
Oh.
Only Wakefield and Carla was infected.
Okay, then never mind. I was gonna say if he was infected,
nah,
then he could have gone after them. But if he wasn't infected, no, then never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still a nice little idea, but also here's another thing I would have liked is that maybe different perspectives. Maybe you control different other characters' choices, kind of like again like Heavy Rain and Until Dawn, where you play as different characters and depending on your choices will shape how they interact with other characters. That would actually make it a whole. That would allow them to flesh out a lot more of these characters. Actually, you'll see from their side, we can get more of an understanding of the villain, Natalie and Parker and Emily.
I would have loved to have seen. Now that I think about it, I would have loved to have seen why the owner woman picked to do what she did. I would like to have seen a reason if, like, for example, she believed that she was doing something good for mankind, but then maybe the side effects or something was going wrong constantly. Maybe there was an inside job saboteur or something which made her, one, she probably didn't know that was an inside job, but it pushed her to the limit to the point of desperation or something. Like, I want to see what got her to the point of choosing why she did. Something like that.
Well, she does believe, as she claims, Natalie claims, like, oh, this is for the benefit. That was a terrible accent I was trying to do. I'm sorry. That she believes it was the benefit for millions and stuff. Like, she plays that up a lot. And I'm just thinking, okay, look, I don't really believe you. You're really doing this for the benefits of millions. Again, maybe if we saw it from different perspectives.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, I want to see why she feels as strongly as she did and what pushed her to the point of doing, secretly having 3 villages worth of hundreds of people being forced to be test subjects. It's like, I would like to see what got her to go that far, because the owner herself, she doesn't give off a vibe like she's evil, like pure evil. I feel like she did something out of desperation, it feels almost, but you don't see the desperation, and that's where it's like it kind of falls flat for feeling anything for the boss villain lady. Because it's like, we don't know what got you to that point. We just know that you lied, and you're really after those nanobots.
Yeah, and Emily, too, is like, again, like, there could have been a really interesting dynamic with her conflict with Emily. Because she can be torn between, like, oh, I want to help my friend, but at the same time, I want to stay loyal to this boss woman thing. But there's no conflict. Once she confronts you about trying to get out, she's like, oh yeah, I knew about everything this entire time. I'm just about as evil as she is. And it's just like, there's no conflict there. There's no tension. It doesn't make her, she's not an interesting character. Actually, I'd say that for a lot of them. Natalie's not interesting. Emily's not interesting. Parker's not interesting. The only one who was kind of interesting was Carla, because she's sympathetic. But the others, I was like, nah. Again, more time. I honestly think, because this game, the story itself, it's about an hour and 20 minutes long, maybe? It's about the average movie length. Which is an hour and 20 minutes, hour 10 minutes. And it really does feel like it needed to be longer. That's what they should have done. They should have made it longer. Really go through with those ideas, with the whole subway thing. Or if they have to, say, screw it, just sell these in episodics. Episodics. That way each episode can be filmed with so many choices that actually have consequences and effects. And, that way they can build more on the characters and do more things. Because doing this just feels limited, and they need more time. Like, Heavy Rain is like a 9-hour game, which that's still a perfect length for what it is.
Yeah.
This one's like an hour 20. Yeah, sure makes it a lot easier to go through, especially when you can start skipping cutscenes that you've already seen.
Yeah.
But, it's almost kind of not really worth it in some regards, because when you realize that your choices don't have that much of an impact and ideas that you realize that they don't really follow through with, it's disappointing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, and so I just kind of wish they really build up. That's the only big suggestion I could say is follow through with your idea of the relationship status, your character status, and, if you're going to bring in a new plot point, do something interesting with it. That's my only real suggestion. Maybe a bit more gameplay would be nice, like Heavy Rain. Or not exactly, but maybe like variety of what you can do.
Well, like you said, when he goes into when he starts hacking, they should have gave us a hacking game of some sort.
Something to work with. Now, if you
and then another game of like collecting items to go down to the
I don't know, or maybe put something you're giving choices what items you want to combine to get down there. I mean, maybe that could be kind of cool. But I understand.
They could have discovered like the piles of dead.
People, dead people.
People that were tested and dead,
yeah,
and then add even
test subjects. There we go.
And then add even more tension and stuff to it, and like. They could have gone more deeper and more into it.
Yeah, there's actually a scene where it's revealed what happened to those villagers. There's blood coming out of their eyes, or they're mutating in some areas. Like the practical effects, like their skin and bones are contorting.
Yeah,
like that stuff was really good.
Yeah.
I wish there was more of it.
Yeah,
because that was really good. It's like, ooh, because my hair did raise when they revealed what happened to the villagers. Because I was like, oh wow, now we can see what happened to the other test subjects. I think that could add a lot more tension, unnerving, really get underneath the player's skin.
Also, too, the fact that the character you play, she's the one that created those bots, and mind you, they're not ready for people to take. It's still in, they're still in development. It's not the bots aren't mastered yet.
Yeah, and there's no much conflict with that with her.
There's still some flaws with it. And, like, if they showed that would add even more weight on her conscience and make her feel like, am I doing the right thing?
And that's the thing I don't like. She just waves it off. Like, yeah, sure, she's a little upset about it, but doesn't really put on her conscience, like, oh, is my nanotech really worth investing if it can possibly do this to people? Is it really worth doing that?
And that could have added even more layer to the character, adding, like, make you think, first you were like, I want a better mankind, but if it goes horribly wrong, look at what happens. Should we really open up that Pandora's box?
There is one ending where she does question that, where you're given a choice, like, oh, now the nanotech virus and this nanotech medicine thing is too dangerous to be alive, so I'm just going to kill Carla so it can never be used. That's like the only time, but even so, it doesn't seem like she really has much conflict with it. It seems like she would easily get rid of her life's work. And just easily just throw it away, and not how much of a guilt, without being much trouble about it. And it's like there should have been more conflict. That's another thing this game needs. It needs more internal conflict. Yeah. It does have that with her questioning her superiors, but not with her own creation. Because it's like, she doesn't question once what she's doing is really beneficial or not. Mm-hmm. She's always on set saying, oh yeah, this is always good for everybody. So, yeah, that is the Complex. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad movie game.
Well, also, too, let's talk about the visuals, since we talked about some of the parts.
There's not too much of the visuals we can talk about. Like, okay, there's certain moments where you will see there's obvious blue screen effects. Blue screen. Yes. And honestly, to me, to this day, I don't know why they didn't just use a monitor to have a video call with the character, because when you look at it, if you're a film major like I am going through college and you're going to be learning how visual effects work and stuff, you're going to be noticing a lot more details like that when you look at these films. So I noticed that and I was like, oh man, why did you not? Why did you do this? Why didn't you use a computer monitor? Because now this blue effect, you can obviously tell because when you look at the character's head, you can still see the blue, reflecting off the hair and stuff. And that's not supposed to do that.
Yeah, the back, like when you see from the back of their head and seeing them looking at a computerized,
And there's some times where
futuristic sci-fi screen in front of them. He's talking about that scene because when you look at the characters' uh, outline of their heads, it looks awkward, and the blue lighting coming off of the shine of their hair is kind of obvious.
yeah, and there's also some moments where like, okay, that's green screen effect. I note a good couple of chunks of one of those. I mean, it's not terribly noticeable. It's not terrible. Again, if you are someone like me who looks for those things, you're going to notice it. There's plenty of TV shows and movies. Watching, if we're talking about big budget films, you will barely notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, say like Spaceballs, for example, I went back through that movie. And I was like, oh my god, the blue screen, green screen effects, you can clearly see it. It's not as... the movie's not supposed to be seen in HD. It's not meant to be seen in HD. So when you do that... But that's all a topic for another day. But my point is, I notice more of the details now because college, even so people... With Spaceballs, is more noticeable. It's not as bad as Spaceballs can be.
Mm-hmm.
But this film is close to it at times. It's like... Film game is close. It's more of a film than a game, I would say. But whatever.
It's a multi-choice movie.
Multi-choice movie. And you know what? If you're only after the casual audience who just wants a film but wants choices, then that's fine. You know, this is right up your alley. But for me, as someone, I would like a bit more gameplay in there. A little bit more.
Yeah.
Something just give it a little variety. But that's just me. That's just personally just me. For you guys out there, you might just be fine with that.
Oh, yeah, they could have added a bunch of mini games.
Yeah, we've already discussed about that before we go into loops. Let's just go ahead and just wrap this up. So overall, The Complex is a decent game. It's not bad. It's not great. You will have a fun little time with it, most likely. I wish they did more of the cinematography. I wish the characters were more fleshed out. And the ideas that they did have, like the relationship status, the character status, stuff like that, I wish
actually means something.
Actually meant something, which is not, again, window dressing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 6 out of 10. That's where it stays for me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if they come out with DLC that improves more on the story, we'll go back through it and see how it affects the main game. Actually, no, take that back. The main game will always be a 6 out of 10 unless they really patch in new scenes that I'm losing my words. Enhances it. There we go. Yeah, I am losing my words here, so I probably should call it good. 6 out of 10. That's my thoughts. What's your thoughts, Dove?
Same as I did before. 6.5, and the only reason why I add an extra 5 is because of the acting. I could tell that there was a lot of passion, there was a lot of heart that went into this product. It just feels that it felt like it doesn't feel done is the problem. It feels like I want to see the director's cut kind of thing. You know, like I want to see more of what is missing that can make it better. The thing that we feel is that this game has like a lot of good ideas. It has a lot of things that they do right. But the things that are holding it back is what kind of makes us kind of bummed, because it's like, missed opportunities, and they could have done more with this part, or why didn't they pursue more of what we just learned, and we need more consequences with the relationships and variety to make it where you want to play it over and over and over and see the different consequences. There's not enough consequences, from your choices. And that the game presents that everything you do matters, but then when you actually play it, it's like, no, it doesn't matter.
There are some things that do, but not majority of them, I would say.
It doesn't matter as much as they make you think.
Yeah, again, like you can.
That's what kind of holds it back.
To prove my point here, let's say like an earlier scene, she tries to go through a vent to escape, to go to another storage room. So you have two ways of doing it. You can either do it, crudely, or you can do it delicately. either choice doesn't really make an effect on your character or the story because she still gets to the vent and goes to the storage room and she gets her finger cut. That happens no matter which one you go with. And same thing with if you treat that guy like crap and you don't help him, so she gets a seat they stand on and try to remove the vent herself. She falls off and she still ends up cutting her finger.
The same finger no matter what.
Same finger, and honestly, the next scene doesn't make so much sense because she starts talking about how the storage room was wrecked even though she didn't go there.
Yeah, that's if you treat him really bad and he doesn't help.
I might have accidentally skipped that scene. I might have, but yeah. So like it's like that's what we mean. Like not your choices at times, a good chunk of the time, don't really matter. They don't.
And that's what holds it back, because it's like, here, choices, be careful what you choose, and it's like when you go through. Because he did everything like how he would do it, and then he went through it trying to be the best he could be with everybody, and then he tried to do it being the worst he could be with everybody, and...
yeah.
Great ideas,
so,
but it needs more work on the execution.
So, yeah, okay. So let's wrap it up there. 6 out of 10. You give it 6.5.
6.5,
right?
and I give it that extra 5 because of... There was heart into it, it's just... It needs more work. They need to add more to it.
So that's the best. That if we can summarize anything with a couple words, it needs more work. That's the best way we can summarize it. It needs more work.
The more
and missed opportunities as well.
Yeah, and if they worked on that, it would definitely help bump up the score.
Yeah. So wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining us in this podcast. Stay very safe out there this time. Don't do anything irrational. Please don't. And for the love of God, stop buying so much toilet paper. You'll be dead, long dead, starving before you ever run out of toilet paper. Buy food instead. Buy 1 pack of toilet paper. That's all you really need. I had the same pack since last year. So, okay. That's another PSA announcement. So, be careful.
Yeah, and take care of each other.
All right. Thank you for watching, or listening in this case, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.